Welcome to Second Take, the show that focuses on the issues behind the news. From being a loss maker that had to be turned around, Geita gold mine in Tanzania could now well become AngloGold Ashanti's top performer within continental Africa. Mining Weekly editor Martin Creamer visited the mine and is here to tell us more. Welcome, Martin.
Thanks, Shannon.
Martin, what makes Geita gold mine unique among its peers?
You know, they've had this problem child, and they've at the same time introduced a new program of extreme makeover called Project One. And so they thought, well, we've got 20 operations that we're going to have to deal with, you know, to restructure and to put on a good growth path. So we might as well start with the problem child. And I think they started with one area at Impaneng in South Africa as well. So those two pilots they began with, and I must say, you know, in 18 months, they've turned a problem child into a potential top performance. So the dog has become the diamond all of a sudden. And it could be that Geita becomes one of their best mines in continental Africa. Because we saw last year it was producing at a rate of about 270,000 ounces. It's on track to go a little bit beyond their target for this year of 350,000 ounces. But next year they're talking about 500,000 ounces. So, you know, that's quite a turnaround. And one has to take one's hats off to particularly Australians that have come over from Sunrise Dam and shown people how to do it.
What sort of challenges can a company expect when mining in Tanzania?
Oh, there are issues in Tanzania. I mean, you know, that's got a history of being German East Africa, and then the British took over. And during those periods, you had first the Germans starting mining activity in the area, British taking over, and then the President Julius Nyerere deciding that he would introduce a socialist policy and nationalizing the mines. And I think he said before his death that was a wrong decision because, you know, you saw the decimation of the industry. And then in the mid-90s, they decided to go back to the private sector and introduce a new framework, and it attracted, you know, billions of dollars of investment, particularly in gold mining, but there's also diamond mining activity. There will be nickel mining soon. So mining is back there. But of course, there's an election process at the moment going on. So I think at the end of this month, there's an election. And during that period, you know, you find the opposition calling for more from the mining industry. It's just general around the world these days. You know, people are expecting more from a natural resource like mining, particularly with the gold price going the way it is. I mean, we are sitting in the the wonderful Serengeti and looking at our funds. I mean, you could actually see, it was demonstrable. You could see the gold price galloping like some of the Giselle were across the plain. I mean, really that gold price is moving. And so people's expectation is growing. And I think there is a little bit of a change to the tax regime that people are having to deal with. There's also issues of compensation. No, you get into an area, it is your licensed area, but there's a history because of the stop-start of private sector. You would have families that have lived there for a long time on certain farms, or otherwise people have been mining in that area as they would regard it as a career, but they're informal miners. Now all of a sudden, you know, the government has licensed this to a formal miner. Now they have to pay compensation in terms of formula to persuade those people to leave. And so they get a government valuer out. But sometimes the people dig in the hills and say, no, look, I've got 10 banana trees and I've got this, you know, are you not going to compensate me for that? And so there is a situation of some people holding out. Not that they occupy that ground. They hold out as landowners. And that gives an opportunity then to illegal miners to come back into the adits and start working again. So there are those issues.
Why has Geita not been focusing on exploration for the past 5 years?
Well, you know, it's been it's a cash flowless operation. So when you've got financial difficulty, you know, one of the first things you cut is your exploration budget. So they haven't strategized well. They didn't strategize well in the past 5 years around exploration. But everybody says the area is well endowed. So I'm sure that exploration is going to pay off. And the geologists think so as well. And now they've got a new strategy that they're introducing, and they're better funded, they're cash positive at the moment, so they can move forward on a firmer footing.
What do you think the future outlook for the mine in particular will be, as well as for the area in general?
Well, for that particular mine, it's looking pretty bright. At that sort of rate of delivery, if they can deliver, and they're quite confident, you can see from the smiles on their faces that they've set a structure in place that doesn't allow for back slippage. Even though the individuals who have turned this operation around are going back to Australia and back to Sunrise Dam, etc., they've left a legacy which cannot fall back because of the way it's been structured. So the outlook is bright. It looks like it could be the best mine they've got in continental Africa if it carries on at this rate. And perhaps it'll even start challenging the whole AngloGold Ashanti group for supremacy.
Wow, it sounds like good news. Thanks, Martin.
Great, Shannon.
That's the show for today. Join us again next time for more news and insight into what's happening in the mining world.